Hello everybody, Reggie Time here, and today we're going to be continuing what we've been doing this week and looking at all the pots I played since the last video that are 50 big blinds or bigger, won or lost. I think there's 6 or 7 25 NL hands, and then there's 3 50 NL hands to finish off with. So we'll get into that very soon. Before we do that, just check beneath the video in the description section, and you'll see a link to PBKR's poker stream. He's going to be doing a UCOP stream tonight. He's also going to be playing a 10NL cash game on the side where he's going to invite his regular viewers to play 10NL cash with him, and every hour they're going to vote a player off and the new player's going to come in. Sadly, I won't be able to join that game from the start because I need to take the money we raise from the charity stream, and taking that over tonight to the youth club to give to them, and give evidence to the guys who donated that their money has been delivered. So I won't be home till 8:30, but I hope to get on the wait list and I hope to get in the game at some point. But if by the time I get home the wait list too big, then it looks like I won't get to play, which will be a shame. But good luck to Phil on his stream tonight, and hopefully some of you guys will get over there and watch him. He's a really good player, very entertaining streamer. And he's just a good guy. He also did a charity stream, I think back in August or September time. He did a 24-hour charity stream and he raised over £3,000. The man is a good man, and he's got some, good experience getting deep in some big tournaments. He's just a good man and a good player. And if you don't already follow him and watch him, then you should. So, follow the link to the stream. He should be on for around 7 o'clock, but these Sky streamers, none of them are that reliable with the starting time. Hopefully, they'll start on time at 7ish. But if you go over there at 7ish and just have the stream open, it'll start some point close to 7 o'clock, I would imagine. So yeah, get your ass over there, get him watched, give him some support from our channel. So let's get on to these hands. Again, most of these hands are going to be they're going to be kind of coolers, most of them, or sometimes it's going to be when I play badly or my opponents play badly, because in speed poker or any poker really, you tend not to get too many big pots in microstakes cash unless there's two big hands kind of colliding. So let's crack on. Let's get going straight away. This hand's going to be against this guy. He's a Russian regular. I only noticed him yesterday for the first time. We don't have too many hands on him. He does play 25NL and 50NL. I'm assuming he 3 tables both, because why would you play 2 limits at the same time and play less than the maximum of each? It wouldn't make sense. So, this is going to be against him. We open the ace-9, blind versus blind. He calls. We flop the absolute nuts, which is it's going to be hard to misplay this one. We see bet 1/3 pot, which seems pretty standard. He calls. Turn is the total break. We overbet the turn. And I'm not sure this is really a good thing to do, but I think when a person's called and they've called again, so their range is kind of capped, I guess. But I mean, did they raise this floor? I don't fucking know. But it feels like a good spot when the board doesn't change and you've got a strong hand and you've been called on one street. It doesn't seem like the worst thing to overbet the turn, especially with your really nutted stuff or your big equity draws. I could be wrong, but it felt like a reasonable thing to do. And he raised us, which is what? I mean, we've raised pre, we've c-bet, albeit small, the flop. We've then bombed the turn, and he's raised us. And what the fuck is going on here? Because it's not even like you can have the nut flush draw. We have the nuts. The queen and the jack are also out there. So what the fuck flush does he have? I didn't understand. But I just presumed he had to be strong, because who the fuck raises an overbet on the turn? I just thought he must be strong here. Maybe he's got a set of 5s. Maybe he's just I don't know. He can't really have jacks or queens because he surely 3-bet 7 pre if he's a regular. I was a bit confused, but I thought he had to be nutted here, and I just thought, right, he's probably just got pocket 5s. That was my read. Or maybe he's got a small flush, like a 10 high or a 9 high flush, something like that. So I elected just to shove on him because of that. I didn't want the board to pair and him get scared if he does have a small flush. I didn't want another club to come and him just not put any more money in if he does have a set. He's raised me on the turn. I don't expect him to be weak. I expect him to be raising the turn for value. Now, obviously, this raise could make him fold if he's got like a Jack Queen or something like that. But I don't think he played Jack Queen this way. I just presumed he was strong and I presumed he wasn't folding. So I went with the 3-bet because we're out of position. In position, I wouldn't have raised. But out of position, I'm like, right, well, let's just get the money and then I hope he calls. And he did call. The board did pair, but we managed to beat the King 7. So that was just like a big cooler. Unlucky for this fella. If the roles were reversed, this hand would have gone like pretty much the same way. It's just nuts v second nuts, all the money goes in. Not very interesting, but it was nice for us to drag that pot down. We're on to the next hand. We have 2 queens. We have a min raise under the gun from a kind of passive-ish, kind of semi-loose player. We 3-bet to 10 big blinds with the queens. He calls. We flop a set because that's what we do when we're reviewing big pots. We just make big hands. I decided to go a little bit bigger here because middle set's quite a nice hand to like just over it with when there's an ace on the board. You know, just hoping that opponent's got an ace of some description. If he doesn't have an ace, we're probably not getting much more money anyway with middle set because what does he have that calls raises and calls a 3-bet? And here we're just hoping our opponent has an ace, ace king, ace jack, ace 10, and he calls. Bought up on the turn. Given what we just said in the last hand about when the turn to break, how we can just overbet a lot, I think we don't need to do that here because it's a 3-bet pot. I think if this was a single raise pot, I may well have overbet again, but with it being a 3-bet pot, we just don't need to do that. We've got an SPR now of like way less than 1. So let's see what size I go with. I go with just 27. He snapshots on me. We like getting raised on the turn when we've got the nuts. It's nice. We call. Jack on the river, and he just had the ace 3 of clubs. So that was another nice takedown for us. I think his turn raise shouldn't be a thing, but he did it anyway. I can see why he's done it. He's got top pair. He doesn't have any kicker issues anymore, I guess, with the 6 pairing, and he has a flush draw. I mean, from his perspective, if I have an ace, he's only losing to ace king and ace queen. So I kind of see why he's done it, but he shouldn't have done it. I don't think. That was another one for the good guys. We move on to the king queen off in the next hand. We raise a limper, Ducky DD. This 8911 guy has limped. We've raised. He's called. We flopped not very much, 2 overs and some backdoors. We see bet small. We don't need to see bet too big into this guy, and we're just hopefully it's attacking his auto folds. That we just get like his 10 nines, 8 nines, whatever else he's got, just to fold, or at least like set our own price rather than check calling. He does call. Turn a queen. In now bet 11. He calls. River completes the flush card. Also completes some other stuff that he might have his 90-11 or 89-11. So even though it's unlikely, he could have the ace 3s and the 6 3s, things like that. What am I going to do here? I guess it's just a block. We should go with. Whether I did that or not, who knows? But we should definitely just block here, I think. Maybe bet something like 15, 16 bigs. 15. I know my game. And then we get tiny raised on the river. And it stinks. When this happens, it stinks. This guy probably isn't bluffing. Is he the sort of player who's going to like overvalue a queen X and put a small raise in? Maybe. But we just can't call. We just can't fold, sorry. It's a spot where it's a bit to call and lose a lot, but we don't need much equity to call, and it's a random player who might just be doing random silly things. So we did call, and he had the ace 4, which it's an interesting way to play his hand. Maybe he thought he had a straight, who knows? Maybe he thought he had a straight when he didn't. And we won that one. And we move on to the next one. Ace Jack, we open for the min raise. We've been 3-bet. I can't move his stats by a 28-17. We're obviously just going to defend this with a call. I don't think we want to be 4-bet in this hand. We flop ourselves a top pair. He bets our pot. We call. Turn pretty much a brick, given the action. He bets half pot again. We call again. We rivet ourselves 2 pairs. He bets half pot again. And I think we need to raise at this point. I mean, there's 39 the big bands are behind. If he has anything half decent, he's going to call us. Shove. He calls. And we sucked out on the Ace King. I'm not sure I love his line. I think like double barrel in half pot there in a 3-bet pot. I mean, his 3-bet's too small pre. Then he's gone half pot flop turn. Yeah. Well, less said about that, the better, I think. We dragged another one down. Here we have 2 kings, a semi-decent regulars or decent regulars raised under the gun, 3x. We get the squeeze into 11. Maybe we could go bigger here. We got this digger driver who's got 57-0. So perhaps we could go a little bit bigger. What I've been doing lately, and a small adjustment I made yesterday was I think I've been making my 3-bets too big, which have then been kind of like manipulating my opponent's ranges in ways that aren't that good. I think I've been like denying myself action from some weaker hands and like forcing my opponents into spots where they kind of have to 4-bet or fold, and people don't like 4-betting much in these games. So I think I'm maybe getting a few too many folds. So I've sized down my 3-bets both in and out of position. It went well yesterday. Whether it continues to go well, who knows? But that's what I was doing yesterday. I also like dialed my open size down from 2.5x to a min raise. So yeah, a couple of small adjustments I made yesterday. We get the 4-bet. There's nothing much to do here other than jam, of course. Our opponent calls, and at this point I'm like, all right, we're up against aces, never mind. And we were up against aces. We were up against ace king, and I'm not sure what I think about. I remember at the time I thought our opponent played his hand quite badly. It's under the gun. He's going to have some hands on me. I've got at least 346, possibly more on him, depending on what holder manager's telling me today on whether that's the correct number or not. He's going to know I'm a nit. You know, my stats are going to be probably, well, who knows what he sees from me and my stats, but I know what my stats are. And my VPIPs hovers around 20%. My 3-bet hovers around 7%, something like that. So maybe it's okay. I don't. But this is a squeeze spot as well, so I'm going to have slightly fewer, like weaker 3-bets in my range. He might not know that, but I know that. And I just think like 4-bet calling off ace king here. It's ambitious. You know, my range is going to be primarily pocket kings, pocket aces, and ace king myself, I guess. And he doesn't do too well against that. Maybe he doesn't know that against me. This is probably completely standard from him, and it's just me seeing like the spot through his eyes from my like nit perspective. But I didn't like it. I think he didn't need to go broke there. When I put the 5-bet jam in, I don't think he needs to go broke. I mean, of course, I guess theoretically I should have like ace 4, ace 5, etc. in the suited varieties. Some pocket queens as well, but I don't. You know, I probably don't squeeze the ace 4, the ace 5 pre-flop very much there. And with the queens, I probably just call his 4-bet. So against me, that line isn't going to work out too well with ace king. But yeah, I'm not criticising the guy. It's probably completely standard, and I'm just being a fucking absolute fanny of it. But he won the pot anyway, so fair play to him for that. Here we've got like a very aggressive. This is another one of those guys, and there's a few of these, and rightly or wrongly, there's like these guys are open for pot. They've all got very similar stats now. I haven't got like masses of hands of any of them, but there's about 7 of them now, around 7 that I can see anyway. Regulars that open for this pot size from all positions, and they all play around 28, 29 VPIP, around 21, 23 PFR. All got similar bet size, similar 3-bet sizes. You'll have a hard time convincing me they're not in some way doing something unscrupulous. Whether that's, I don't think the bots, or whether it's people using the same like real-time assistance. I don't know what it is. And it could be that I'm just being a fucking moron, and they're all just doing their own thing. But nah. I hope eventually, if I stay in these games long enough, I'll get like tens of thousands of hands on them all. And if they are like statistically very similar after that over a big sample, I'll have no problem just calling them out and busting them, or trying to bust them to the site. But yeah, I'm pretty sure something's not right about these players. There's just too many similarities with the guys that open for this size. They're the only players in the game who do it apart from Fish. and they're all very similar. But I haven't got enough evidence yet. I've only got a good feeling. But anyways, forget that. We squeeze it up to 11.8 bigs. He 4-bets. We just call. Maybe we should just jam there, but against under the gun 4-bets, even against bots or at real-time assistance users, maybe even more so if this is people who are like maybe getting some assistance with the game or not even playing the game themselves. There's going to be more weaker 4-bets in here. So I guess we could just like 5-bet ship out Ace King. But I elected just to call because I'm an absolute fanny. We flop ourselves a top pair. He checks. We check back. Turn, he bets half pot. We just call. River comes to 5. Our opponent checks. By now, I'm pretty sure we have the best hand. I wasn't sure until like we got the river check, because if he just has a better hand than us, he just jams the river. So we now go all in, and he folds. So who knows what he had there that he like 4-bet, check flop, bet turn, check fold river with. Who knows what that was, but it worked out okay for us. We won the pot. Onto the pocket jacks now. We have a very loose passive player here who's limped. We isolate to 4.4x with the jacks. Very tight, say regular. He's not, he's just a tight fish, isn't he? Comes along in the big blind and he completes and makes up there. We now get a donk lead for quite big from this guy, and I'd play him a little bit, and he'd put me in the bin in some small pots a few times, whereby limp calling and then either donking big or like putting some shitty little check raises in. You can see his one when so flop was like 64. He was like very passive pre-flop and then like pretty active post-flop. One of those types of guys. I just hoped he had a top pair or better, and I raised. He shoved, which was very convivial of him. We obviously snap it off because, you know, he did like, this is like the third time he'd raised me post flop, and we'd only been playing half an hour. He just seemed to be like, maybe he's one of these guys who like just limps, and once he hits a piece, he overplays it. So we're just happy to get it in against him. If he's got us beat, he's got us beat. One of them things. He had the Jack 10, and we took down 150 big blind pot. So that's the end of the 25 portion. I'm going to now load up the 15L hands. I think there's only 3 of them, but yeah, we'll pull them up now. So none of you will be surprised to see that the first hand is 2 aces. We get a limper. We isolate to pot. We get a 3-bet from this regular guy here. We 4-bet. He shoves. We call. He just has ace king, and again, I mean, I don't like ace king all in pre-flop. It's not my thing. I'm more of a let's see your flop type of guy with most of my range, but I mean, yeah, I'm not going to go overboard with it, but I understand it's a thing. I understand everyone does it. I just don't like it. But anyway, never mind that. Move on to the next one. We have 6-7 suited here. Same guy from earlier. He opens with 2.5x. This is another one of those, like, if you go back, it might even be the same Pookie player. I forget that. I think it might be the same player anyway. Anyway, we complete. We flop a double gut shot, and I remember this hand. This guy, it's showing 53 c-bet here. The c-bets that I was showing at the time was like less than 50. It was like somewhere in the high 40s. And this guy, I know, like, has a pretty high stabbing frequency, or these players, versus miss c-bets. So I thought this guy's going to check quite a lot, and this guy's just going to bet like any 2. Without a position, I didn't really want to check raise, although in hindsight, I think maybe if he checks and he stabs, check raise might be good. I'm not sure. But I elected to lead out here. It's a board that's pretty good for a big blind. I guess it's not brilliant. Rather, like the 10 was like a, you know, slightly lower card maybe. But I don't know. I'm making excuses up. I just felt like donking this spot. It felt like a reasonable spot to donk. So that's what I did. I just donked. And this guy called. We turned not the nuts, but, you know, a very strong hand. Our opponent here could have Jack Queen, of course, but if he does, then I guess we're just going broke at this point. So because of the previous thing where he just like these players who have these stats, who I think might be doing something unscrupulous, they do have quite a high bet versus like missed bets. So I elected to check here to try and get a check raising against him, which is what we did. What do I think of my size here? It's 3 and a bit X. Don't hate it. Guess we could have gone a little bit bigger too. I mean, if he's got nothing, he's just folding anyway. And if he's got some equity, then he's probably going to pay more than I'm charging. So perhaps we could have gone a little bit bigger there. But he calls. The ace of diamonds on the river, which, in my opinion, is a bit of a brick. You know, Jack Queen still has us beat. That's about it, really. Don't see him having too many flushes here. But I mean, it's possible, of course, but don't think it's too likely. So I ended up just like, putting the rest of the money in. An opponent calls. And he had the Queen 10 of diamonds, which makes sense. You know, I think he's played the hand fine. Obviously, flop, he just calls. Turn, when we check, he bets, I guess, for some value, gets raised. Can't fold because we give him too much of a good price with the pair and a flush draw. And then he rips the flush off on the end. So fair play to him. We lost that pot. And it's like, did we need to lose such a big pot there? I mean, I guess the flop donk's the most unusual part of that. But even if we don't donk the flop, what happens? We check call flop. We hit the turn. We do the same thing. We check raise the turn. So I guess whether we donk or check call the flop, it's the same outcome. So whatever, it is what it is. And then this hand, I took a small break after this hand because this hand came literally like a minute or so, maybe not even that, after that one. And I haven't tilted one little bit during the month so far. I've had sessions where I've not played quite as well and I've played a bit zombie-ish, but I haven't had any fuck it moments. This is a fuck it moment. It's the first one of the month, sorry, and I took a short break after it because I didn't want to be in fuck it mode. We got the 2-8s. We min raise. This guy just ripped. So we got this like nitty guy. He was pretty shit and nitty. Just ignoring him. He's not, he doesn't have a better hand than 2-8s. He certainly isn't going to call this shove. This guy just like rips it. He's 47. I think these stats are about right for him. And I just thought this fucker's got ace king. Fuck him. I mean, this should just be a fold in my opinion. And even if it shouldn't be a fold, even if calling's correct, I know when I'm playing like as well as I can play, I just say fuck it in these spots and fold. But I didn't. I said fuck it and call. Oh, fuck it and all in, actually. This guy gets out of the way. And we lose to pocket jacks. So it's a surprise that he had a hand as strong as jacks. I presumed when he just went all in, it was going to be like the ace king, ace queen, or maybe some smaller pairs who just like, fuck it, I don't want to see a flop kind of thing. I was surprised when he was a hand as strong as jacks, but whatever. I deserve that. Just don't like call 50 bigs off pre with pocket eights. It's a punt. And it wouldn't have happened had that ace king hand not happened previously. This is like the first, like, in my opinion, deliberate mistake. I don't think wrong. That's the wrong way of describing it. But it's the first hand that I recall playing this month where I knew I should fold, but I didn't. We all do that now and again. It's just part of the game. It's all built into our win rates. I get that. But I shouldn't have done it. I was quite annoyed. So I took a short break after this, not for too long. Then came back and played well again. Did okay. Didn't undo the losses from the 50 NL. If you lose 150 bigs at 50 NL, then come back round in 25 NL, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to get out of the small hole you put yourself in. But in terms of big blinds, I did get myself back out of the hole. So that was really pleasing, even though I was still I think it was down small for the session in the end. In terms of big blinds, we got out of the hole, and I was really pleased that after taking quite a short break, I was able to come back and play well again in a smaller game after losing a couple of bigger pots in the bigger game. I want to get into 50-0 games. Hopefully, by the end of the month, I want to be in a position where I can play them all the time. The reason I want to do that is because the game just runs more often. I haven't got enough money on Triple Eight right now. I could do it. I could just withdraw some money from Sky or just deposit from a bank account to instantly roll myself for 50 and L. But as well as I've been playing so far this month, I want a bigger sample size to prove that I can play in these games consistently well and play a style that does well in these games before I play a little bit higher. So I mean, if I'm still playing these games in like 15, 20 days and I've been playing them consistently, putting the hours in, getting consistent results, I'll be in a position where I can just move up to 50 nil anyway. So that's my goal, is to um move up to 50 nil sometime in the month or by the end of the month, and then just have a bankroll on the site so when I can play in them. I don't need a big bankroll. I only play 2 tables, so if I think I deposited, I think it was $150 on Monday, I want to say, and or was it $200? Can't remember. But anyway, I want to, like, if I get the roll up to like $800, which is plenty. When you're 2 tabling fast fold, you know it's plenty. I mean, I'm well rolled for just the games now. You know, I have like a small amount of money on Sky because I took some money off there last month to like artificially force myself to move down and try and get my act together. Like, yeah, I mean, what's 50 now? It's like 30 quid, 35 quid, something like that. So they're the games that I should be in anyway, because that's what games I would be in on Sky. I'd be playing like 30 NL on Sky if I was playing there probably. So I want to be in the 50 NL games, but I want to be confident that I have enough of a good game to like be a regular in those games before I move up to them, because they are a bit tougher. There's definitely more regulars, more aggressive regulars, but there are some fish in the games too. And so I want to get to a point where I'm like, yeah, there are some regs in this game that are better than me, but I'm at least as good as, if not better than, most of the regs. So I want to feel like I'm in like the top 25% in the pool. If I can get myself feeling like I'm in the top 25% in the pool, and I'll go ahead and move up. In the 25 and L pool, I'm already confident I'm in that top 30%, top 25, 30%. There's lots of pretty bad regs in there that are worse than me, which is saying something, because let's face it, I'm not exactly a fucking genius. So I'm already very confident of my edge in the 25 and L pool, but I just want to win enough money in the 25 and L pool to fund a shot at 50 and L. So it's not coming from my existing role on other sites, my existing role in my bank, etc. So that is the goal. So this is how it's going so far. We played 10,600 hands. We're up $347.49, which is pretty damn nice. How many hours have we played? We played 22 hours, 3 minutes in the first 3 days of the month. So averaging 7 hours a day, which is really good. I'm not expecting to maintain 7 hours a day for the whole of the month, but it's a really good start in terms of like wanting to achieve my hours played goal. So yeah, I mean, I'll probably end up taking my foot off the gas a little bit at some point, but we're on target to get to the 120, 130 hours minimum that I've set myself already. Our win rate is 12.83 at the moment. The one that I find more important, the all-in adjusted, is at 10.19. So I'm absolutely delighted with that. Really, really pleased. And the graph is looking sexy. This is like for the session from yesterday. Most of yesterday's session, it was just like smooth sailing the whole way. That's probably one of the best days poker I played in a while in terms of how well I played, how well I ran, and everything. This is the little accident we had at 50-0 last night. We took a short break and then came back and got back to my high point for the month in terms of big blinds. Really happy with it all. The all-in EV. Sorry, the all-in. No, that's not what I want, but we can look at that anyway. We're getting closer. We were quite far apart at one point, but it's getting closer now, which is what I like to see. And the showdown, it's like this is after yesterday. It went down again. I'm expecting it to trend down like this. It's just how I play the game. But it's not like that, is it? So we've arrested the decline a little bit. This red line's just going to continue to be in decline. As I say, my like benchmark is if it's around 10 big blinds per 100, I'm fine. I don't need to do anything about it. If it gets more than that, which it clearly was there in this piece, then you do something about it. If this like 3 tabling session didn't exist, I think the big blinds the red line would be around here. And I'm happy with that. And I'm not going to do too much about it. So there we go. I don't think there'll be a video tomorrow. It's probably going to be it on the video account until Monday now. Monday might be a monster video because it could be like fuck knows how many hands to review. Maybe on Monday we'll have to say, right, only hands over 75 big blinds won or lost, because I'm obviously going to play. It's Thursday now. I'm going to play today, Friday, Saturday, Sunday before. I'm going to play 4 days before the next video is going to come out. And if we do all the 50 big blind pots, we'll be here all fucking year. So maybe on Monday we just do whatever we do, but not the 50 big blinds, because it'd be too much. So yeah, have a great weekend, everybody. Good luck on the grind. Don't forget, go and give Phil a watch tonight. You won't regret it. Yeah, good luck with your game. Have fun. Have a good weekend. And we'll see you all back on Monday. Take care, everybody, and bye-bye for now.